I heard a quote once from James Baldwin, and he said,
"To be Negro in this country
still is not free.
And to be relatively conscious is to be in a state of rage.
Why did we have to get here in the first place?
Almost all of the time.
We are not treated right in this country. We are not treated fairly. We are not treated as if we are people. We are shot down in the streets. People are never reprimanded for how they treat us. They are never held accountable. And that's the system of oppression that we've been talking about for literally hundreds of years.
Protesters demand justice for George Floyd.
Demonstrations are taking place around the world.
It is unbelievable to see what is happening in almost every single major city in this country.
If we want change, our generation has to step up right now.
Protest is important to me because I think it's one of the few ways that I think black people can exercise their voice and push for change. It's hard to watch something like that and sit still and not want to provoke change and not want to be a part of shaping a new world.
Let's do it. Let's march.
It was a powerful moment to be a part of the protest in Atlanta with Jalen, to support a common cause of ending systematic racism in this country. I had never been a part of a protest. I felt fearful. I felt nervous. I felt excited to be a part of something bigger than myself. Of course you're scared. A couple of weeks before that in Atlanta, we had seen peaceful protests turn into disasters, turn into riots, but we've never stood down, and we didn't stand down that day.
I got brothers, I got sisters, I got friends that are in the streets, that are out here.
There were people of all different backgrounds and colors and ethnicities, and it was something to rejoice in, to have each other's backs, and to try to create a better world for the person standing next to him.
I got a grandfather that marched next to Dr. King in the 60s, and he was amazing. He would be proud to see us all here.
My grandfather, John Hurst Adams, was an extraordinary man. He passed a few years ago, but I know he was looking down. I know he was proud of me. He was someone that marched during the movement, that led protests, that I think played a vital role in Black Americans' lives through the 1960s and even the lives we live today. He's the patriarch of the family, but you don't realize it. You just see him as, we called him Papo. You see him as your grandfather. You don't understand the legacy that he's building, the things that he's done, the mark that he's made for African Americans in this country. For me, my grandfather was everything for me. He was my Dr. King. They worked together sometimes, but a lot of the time they were working apart. They were working on the same mission, but in different cities. He really put his life's, work into the betterment of African Americans.
We must be willing to suffer when necessary, go to jail when necessary, and even risk our lives.
When you look back on the 1960s, specifically during the movement, Dr. King and my grandfather, these leaders organized sit-ins, and they would literally get their heads beat in, walking out of there bloody, getting beat out of the chair. They were scared, but they didn't stand down. They knew they were standing for what was right, and they were going to continue to voice that. If that's what all these amazing black leaders were doing, we can definitely walk on the street and protest and use our voice. I think that's the least of what we can do.
I cannot imagine my kid going through what I see on the TV. I'm going to speak up.
We want everybody to know we're still citizens. We endure some of the same pain that our fellow people in the black community may endure.
They're going to say you should shut up and dribble, which I've heard numerous of times, but I'm never going to do that.
I think NBA players as a whole have done a remarkable job pushing for social justice, social equality in the time that we're living in. I think we had an amazing opportunity in the bubble, and we took advantage of it.
All my answers will be about justice for Breonna Taylor.
My prayers out to Jacob Blake and their family. We said we're going to speak on the social injustice and the things that continue to happen.
The way that I'm feeling right now is nothing. People lost their family members to police brutality.
I want to be influential with my voice. I want to use it for good, and I want it to help make change.
Let's enjoy this together. This is a moment. We have leverage right now. We got to keep pushing forward.
God's blessed me with an amazing platform, so I'm going to continue to use that and continue to try to enhance other people's lives by just allowing people to understand what black people and minorities are going through every day.